I blocked a nerve at my left leg. Do a juice cleanse for 7 days and don't eat anything, and all of those. If we are extremely busy, we can buy them prepped, so already washed, and kind of a bit of a separation, separation with your parents, and now you're
Welcome back to Sessions from the Edge. Tonight we're joined by a guest who holds a Master's in Nutrition and is a specialist in the science of detoxification. But Sophie isn't here to give us a miracle diet. She's here because she understands the internal forces that keep our bodies in a state of chronic noise. After years in the wellness industry, Sophie realised that true alignment requires moving away from the influencer model and towards the mindset of an artisan. She's here to help us decode how our biological foundation, our gut health and inflammatory pathways impact our ability to lead, to create and to thrive. For every Titan who feels they're sliding down an icy cliff, that's one of fatigue. And for Sophie, she offers a map back to functional integrity. So Sophie, welcome to the knife edge of time on the Sessions from the Edge.
Thank you, Paul. Thanks for having me.
And what's it been like down on the Gold Coast?
We can buy them prepped. It's already really beautiful. And just mix a few different veggies in there. So most of the time it's sunny.
Oh, lovely. So before we talk about detoxing and nutrition, I'd like to talk about your recent burnout transition, because in 2025, according to your Substack anyway, you talked about just trying to get to sleep. And that's really a base level exhaustion right there in terms of those feelings and what was happening to you. So you've gone from academia to corporate and near burnout to now. So can you tell us a little about how that happened and the way you transitioned through that burnout wall?
Yeah. So my burnout was probably, or close to burnout, was in 2023. That's where really I started. My body just couldn't handle it anymore. I was working way too much. Was pretty much not sleeping because of my mental load and emotional load. So I was just waking up in the middle of the night, usually at 2:00 in the morning. I wouldn't go back to sleep before 4:30. Sometimes I would not go back to sleep and I would start working at 4:30 in the morning, be at work at 8, back at 6, and then checking my emails, responding to emails at 10 p.m. So that was more than exhausting. Even though I absolutely loved what I was doing. I loved my job, but it was just not sustainable, and I had been doing that for several years. And yeah, my body just told me, hey, you need to stop. So 2023, I got a bit scared. I had already for a few years very bad back pain from the stress. And and then one day one night I woke up in the middle of the night and I could not feel my left leg, and I tried to get up and I fall on the floor because I had like a dead leg, and that was from toes to my hip. So I was really concerned. Everything went through my mind, like, am I having a stroke of some sort, or
Wow.
And then I thought, okay, maybe it's just a one-off, and that just kept happening multiple times a week. And then so I went. I had an appointment with my GP, but before going to see her, it happened again and again. And then so I thought, okay, I probably need to go and just rule out that I'm not having a stroke, or I'm not having something really major. So I went to the ER, and they said, "Oh, maybe you have multiple sclerosis," and I was like, "What?"
Okay.
And yeah, so they wanted me to do obviously more tests and all of that, and yeah, in fact, it was the stress, and the stress was blocking my back, which was then moving, my bones, and I ended up blocking a nerve
Mm,
slightly, and
mm.
then in fact, when I was sleeping, it was putting pressure on that nerve, and then it was kind of paralyzing my leg. So yeah, I had to really slow down, and yeah, just let go of the work that needed to be done, but I couldn't do it. So slowing down really.
But how did
Um,
you? But how did you? So, I mean, I've had a similar situation, but I was diagnosed with a condition. How did you unpack that? How did you start sort of decoding what was actually the issue?
um, well, I had no real reason to have multiple sclerosis. I had not had any recent vaccinations or anything like that. And I thought that's just very odd. And then I remembered that more than 20 years ago, while doing some work in the vineyards in Bordeaux, I blocked a nerve at my left leg,
Mhm.
but it was at the knee level. And then for more than 2 months, I had a dead foot. So I could not lift my foot at all for those 2 months. And so I thought, okay, maybe that's something to do with nerves. Maybe I'm a bit sensitive in that area. So I went to see my osteopath, and then yeah, she worked on my sacrum and all of that. I also went to see my GP, who is also an acupuncturist, and I did 3 months of weekly acupuncture sessions,
Mhm.
which really helped as well. So to get the nerve flow going.
And was
So
that TCM acupuncture, like traditional Chinese medicine acupuncture, or?
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
traditional, yeah, and yeah, and then it started getting better, and I had to go two more times to the osteopath to work on that, and that's where I realized, okay, that must be that, because it's going away. So I was not having as many episodes, and sometimes when I was even walking, like, or standing in the office, I would have my toes, some of my toes that would just go numb. Um, but yeah, so that lasted several months, but it was more sporadic. So that's what I thought. Yeah, that must be that, and it's not MS.
Yeah,
Um,
so must be stress. So what were you thinking now? Like, where did your mind go in terms of how do I get out of this? What do I do? I suppose
I
a bit of a talk about your career progression as well, because that changed.
Yes, it did. Yeah. So yeah, I just realized, like, okay, I've been ignoring completely the signals. Like, I've been ignoring my body telling me, I mean, I had such a huge back pain for 4 years because of the stress of work, even though I didn't feel stressed. So that I was just always like on high, if you want.
Mm.
I was a very high performer, and I was always, go, 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 and never stopping, and always overachieving everything. Um, so I had all that tension in the middle of my back, in between my shoulder blades.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, I know that stretch
and
quite
so
well.
yeah, exactly. And that's really funny, because the day I left my workplace, half of the pain went away. And the
Really?
person who was replacing me started to have pain. So
Oh,
it was
wow.
really hilarious, because he was starting to stress out about all the workload he had to carry himself now.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that was it took probably a year after that to really go away completely. But my osteopath was saying, yeah, it's chalk and cheese from when you were working there and the stress you were carrying, and now. And I'm totally different person now. Like
Mm.
sometimes I go back to see my former colleagues, and they can't believe how chilled I am. They don't hear the clickety clickety clickety.
Oh, you're one of those people, eh? Click, click on the pens
I'm
and
clicketing with my heels, so because I'm
oh,
working
yeah, yeah,
fast
yeah,
all
yeah.
the time.
Oh, fast and easy. What do you tick, 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 tick. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
So yeah, I'm a lot more relaxed, and of course, because I don't have that workload anymore. I was doing the job of 2.5 people for multiple years.
Wow.
So it was way too much, and so I changed job, and I was just doing one job.
Right.
So I could sleep at night. I didn't have like a long list of endless tasks to do that I
Yeah.
couldn't delegate to anyone. So that was really good. So I started sleeping in 2024. And in 2025, that was my goal. I was really to focus on my sleep to get it even like better,
Yeah.
because it's really foundational.
It is. Yeah. And a lot of people sort of don't give sleep enough credence, actually.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And so, thinking from your detox perspective and metabolism and nutrition and so on, did stress have an impact on your metabolism and how was your nutrition then, and did you take any detoxification measures to make adjustments? How did you progress from figuring out it was stress and then relieving some of that stress, obviously work related, but then moving on in terms of lifestyle and things to improve that?
Yeah, my nutrition was always good because I had obviously the knowledge from my master's degree a long time ago. But I guess it was not enough. And because at some point I was so busy with work and the little one, we didn't have time to, because my partner was the same. He was in a senior leadership role like me, and we didn't have much time to cook. So we were cooking at night, but really rarely had leftovers for the following day. So we ended up getting pretty healthy microwavable meals. And for pretty much a year, that was before I had all those other problems, 1 or 2 years before that. And after a year, I started having like really big pain in my breast. So I went to see my GP. She asked me if I was eating a lot of chicken because there are obviously often hormones in chicken.
Yeah.
And then by investigating a little bit what I was eating and my lifestyle and my habits, then we realized, crap, I'm eating out of plastic every single day.
Yeah, the microwave
And
meals.
absolutely, and water and plastic bottles, and all of that. So the convenience is really a trap. And so I realized that it had really impacted my hormones.
Wow.
And so obviously I stopped all of that. And then after that I thought, oh, I need to do something else. And I remember that uh, 8 or 10 years earlier, I had started a toxicology specialization certification, which because I took on that corporate job, I was so busy I completely forgot about, and I never finished it. So I went back to it because luckily I could. And by doing that, by learning about toxicology, learning about natural ways and nutritional ways to help our body detox, because our body already detox but we put a load on it that makes it hard for organs to do their job. And that really helped. And then after that, other people asked me as well, so I started helping them.
So just go back to the toxicology for a moment and just explain what that is for those people who are listening who are not sure what toxicology means.
Yeah, so toxicology is basically the science of anything that can be harmful to the body. So there are different definitions of like a toxin versus other things. To keep it simple for people, something that toxic is something that can harm the body, and really that can be anything. So of course we think first of all the toxicants from the environment, pesticides and chemicals, but there's also things that we have inside our body that are can be harmful, like ammonia, for instance, that can harm the brain if it's in too high levels. But there are also things like as simple as water. So water is good for us, but if we drink an excessive amount of water, it can become toxic. So Paracelsus in the 1500s.
A whole bottle of the stuff.
Yeah. You can drink, of course. Please don't stop drinking water.
No.
Always need to check your urine color. So if it becomes completely translucid, just to stop for half an hour.
Oh, there you go. I learned something new. Fantastic.
Yeah. So that's the best way to know if you are well hydrated. So it's very personalized. And so Paracelsus in the 1500s was the one saying that the dose makes the poison. So really anything can be a poison, or even a poison can be turned into something therapeutic, like homeopathy, for instance, or anything else, or like turning a venom into an antidote.
Yeah, exactly. Like we do in Australia here with snakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We have everything here wants to kill you.
That's right.
So now we have a toxin for it. So sorry about this. I've got itchy nose. So then I hear just as you explained what toxicology was, I heard you were saying others were starting to take note of what you were talking about. Tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, so colleagues, friends, and family. I guess I started talking about it, and they wanted to know more. And I mean, all along, anyway, I had been helping, advising people a little bit around nutrition and things like that. But yeah, a lot of people got interested in detox, and I started helping people and really seeing some amazing results as well in them. For instance, someone I helped after she couldn't sleep. After a week, she could sleep again. And she had already started a bit of weight. She had really a lot of difficulties losing weight. So that was that was really good to see. And then after a few months, her doctor could halve the dose of her blood pressure medication, which was amazing.
Wow. And I'll wish for that.
Yeah. So yeah, that was really good, and her pre-diabetes disappeared as well. So yeah, lots of good stories like that. Lots of people who just started feeling better in their body. Less inflammation. So that helps to lower inflammation as well. Again, it's not a magic bullet. There is no magic bullet.
No.
But it really helps rebuild the foundation for the body, and it's really nutrient dense. So it's completely opposite to what the influencers tell us on TikTok or wherever online, where you have to do a starvation diet, or you have to do a juice cleanse for 7 days and don't eat anything, and all of those things are actually doing the total opposite.
Yeah.
It's actually not detoxifying at all. It's re-intoxicating you.
Yeah, exactly.
So
That's a very interesting point that some of these diets, I mean, typically a diet of any kind, if you're dieting on a particular thing and not having a balanced nutritional diet,
mhm.
then yeah, you're right. Those things. I mean, I remember at the early stages when I was first diagnosed with heart disease that my nutritionist then was saying, "Oh, I want you to have omega-3 every morning, either salmon or sardines." So I didn't give it much thought. So I went, to the local shopping centre and just bought off the shelf, salmon. It was, I won't say where or who, but it was, farmed salmon. I didn't sort of think of the difference between the two. And then I was actually feeling quite ill after eating salmon, and I was thinking, hang on,
Mm.
what's the salmon problem? And then I switched to wild caught salmon from various parts of the world. Yes, it's more expensive, but it didn't give me those side effects. So obviously, like like you were told about the chicken, the hormones and the not so much hormones, but probably the antibiotics and the meal that they feed the salmon, the ones they breed in those big
Mhm.
nets in big bays and things around the world. Obviously, those sort of farmed salmon are probably just as bad as farmed chicken. So that was interesting. And since I've switched to wild caught salmon, which was more than a year and a half ago now, no problems at all. And I
Mm.
rotated between salmon one morning and then sardines the other. And again, wild caught in both cases, with steamed veggies and things. So yeah, interesting stuff.
It's
So
good to vary. Very
it,
important to vary.
yes, I didn't realise how important that sort of variation was. So I've varied the diet even further now. So, but back to you though. You spoke about the moment you stopped performing and then you started investigating what was going on and reducing stress and all that sort of thing. But also, I've read in your Substack about how it's even about the simple moments. For instance, like clearing your son's runny nose through gut health rather than medicine. Can you tell us a bit about that? Because how did that shift from suppressing symptoms to clearing the environment change how you viewed, well, burnout for starters, but then your family's situation, even though your family was quite healthy. But how did you change that?
I guess I just started listening more and
Mm,
observing more.
mm,
Like what you did, you were really good at observing how, or just paying attention to your body, what it was telling you.
mm,
Um, and I guess I always had that tendency to look at non-traditional medicine because when I was a kid, I was often, like whenever possible, treated
mm,
with homeopathy.
mhm.
Which was actually, as a fun fact, was provided by my vet.
You're a vet. Okay.
Yeah, because he was giving homeopathy to our horses.
So describe how homeopathy or homeopathy, as we call it, how it fits into nutrition and these sort of what's the concept difference. This is for people who don't quite understand homeopathy.
Yeah, so homeopathy is so it's not nutritional based, but it's more a little bit similar to naturopathy. So I guess people are probably more familiar with naturopathy. So it's more on plants and utilizing the power of each plant
Mhm.
to a little bit like an antidote, the poison and the antidote.
Mm.
So for something very common would be arnica.
Okay, arnica. Yeah, love it.
Yeah, arnica, we often find it in gel to help relieve muscle pain, for instance.
Oh,
So
really?
so
In
that's
jam?
yeah, no, it's a gel that you put on your skin.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I was going to say.
Yeah.
I've rubbed it on various, and it's great
Yeah.
for pain in the
Yeah.
joint.
So
but I
now the
wouldn't use it.
homeopathy that I'm used to back in France is more like in little granules. So it's like mini granules of sugar. They are coated with the medicine.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, so I had been using that for before, and then since coming to Australia, I had not used it because it's not really accessible here.
Mm-hmm.
And then because my son obviously was getting, runny nose and all of that, and I thought, okay, I need to look back into that. And then not just that, but after, I guess, finishing my certification in detox, I started another one in gut health.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kept on rolling. Oh, that's so interesting. I forgot how good it was. I'm going back to my first love of nutrition. And so, yeah, by learning as well more about the gut, that's where I started combining not just the homeopathy, but sometimes I was not using the homeopathy, and then I would just make that soup that I've posted about on Substack with allium vegetables, which is really powerful for and really support your gut and help with those little symptoms of like runny nose and sore throat. So I call it the magic potion for my son, and yeah, he loves it, and it's been working really well. Yeah.
Just again, we've got another term there, alliums, garlic and things. But just explain what the alliums are in terms of the allium family of vegetables.
Yeah. So the alliums are, like you said, the garlic, the onions, a family of vegetables that help with immunity. They help support good immunity via the gut. They also provide lots of fiber for the gut. So for good bacteria in our gut, we have a huge family that's supporting us in there. And so those good fibers help support that immunity. It has also like some anti-inflammatory properties. And so all of that supports the cold symptoms.
And you advocate for simple gut health, something you just mentioned there, an allium soup, etc. So those habits you prefer over things like expensive supplements, for instance. And in the alignment workbook that I have with my own book, we teach that small is powerful. What's one minimum viable alignment in terms of a choice or a food group or a meal that you could have in nutrition that a busy executive can implement to lower their level of resistance, their systemic problems?
It could be as simple as getting a salad together. Nowadays, we can, like, if we are extremely busy, we can buy them prepped, so already washed, and just mix a few different veggies in there. So it could be carrots and cucumbers and tomatoes. And yeah, for instance, for me, I'm still very busy.
Yes.
And I have that every day. And I mix different things in it. But so when you start your meal with that on top of it, so starting with a vegetable, like a salad, it will help reduce the impact of your meal on your blood glucose. So you're going to reduce the peak of insulin. And in that, you're going to lower your inflammation. You're also going to lower the fat storage. So if you're concerned about your weight, that's something that you can do. Or if you're concerned about prediabetes or diabetes, that's a really good little tip. If you have a salad, you have also the benefit of having the vinegar, which also has that extra benefit to lower blood glucose.
Oh, okay. So what does vinegar do?
It kind of temper the enzymes in your stomach, and it helps basically get the carbs, the glucose from the carbs going slower into your bloodstream. So the both combined work really well. So you would start with that, your meal, before touching any carb.
Is that the same with caramelized balsamic vinegar?
So no, that wouldn't work as well because it's sweetened. So
Uh-huh.
any other vinegar that's not sweetened could be your red vinegar, your white vinegar, your apple cider vinegar, anything that's not sweetened.
Mm, okay. Because I actually, so I don't drink alcohol. Haven't done for about 8 years or something. But in the evening, I have, we've got one of those soda making machines. So I make up some water soda and put, a helping of vinegar in there, balsamic vinegar. And instead of, having soft drink, or instead of having water, or instead of having alcohol, and I
Yeah,
just have one of those glasses
yeah, it's
in the
better.
evening when I start. So
Yeah.
um, I have it so often that my grandsons are now got in the habit. They say, "Oh, Bubba, can we have some of your bubble juice?"
Yeah. So look, that's just one example, but I guess
Yeah.
for busy executive, it's really about finding something that they like. It's
Yeah.
very important. Like I'm French, it's very important to enjoy your food,
Yeah.
enjoy your meals, and yeah, something that's easy that they can make easily. Even frozen vegetables are really good. They often have even kept more vitamins than fresh ones that have stayed too long, in the fridge. So yeah, anything that people like, just having that, big bowl of vegetables on top of anything else they're eating,
Yeah.
that is already a big bonus for gut health. It brings a lot of fiber.
Is that the snap frozen variety, like the ones you buy in the plastic bags at the
Mm,
shopping centre? Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
So they're okay, are they? I mean, they've got their
yeah, they
vitamins
are.
in.
Mm.
Mhm. Okay,
Yeah, they
fantastic.
are usually they are frozen. They are ready to be eaten, basically,
Yeah,
and yeah, so they are frozen straight away. So they keep quite a lot of vitamins.
right.
Mm.
Interesting, because we get ours from a local fruit grocer, not the supermarket, but a proper fruit people.
Mm.
But I suppose as that transport, uh,
Mm.
the vitamins decline, do they? Yeah.
Yes, yeah, in transport and with heat, but at the same time, like if you can get fresh food, it's very good as well. It's just
Mm.
like making sure that they haven't spent a week already somewhere traveling, or it will be a bit less beneficial. But in any case, whatever people choose, just eat vegetables.
Yeah,
Eat
absolutely.
more,
I mean,
and we never eat enough.
I'm
So,
big into permaculture, and when before we downsized a year ago, we had quite a big garden, vegetable garden, and aquaponics and all sorts of weird and wonderful stuff. But now that we're renting while we're building a new house, literally before this interview, I was out the back there planting some tomatoes and things. We've only been in this house for 2 days, and I've already got some vegetables in the ground.
good job.
Exactly. So that's really interesting. The snap frozen stuff. That's a great idea, because that's something that everybody can get hold of.
Mm. Yeah, for busy people, I find it can be helpful because they don't have to wash it, they don't have to cut it. So it can cut down a little bit the cooking time or the prep time.
Mm,
So it could be an alternative to
yeah,
fresh.
okay. So you talk about busy people. Now you went from a busy executive career to a full-time coaching business, and now you've moved that rhythm again. That's a very dynamic movement in terms of finding that harmony to align your health with your occupation. And in my book, I talk about health being your occupation, and you've certainly taken that from the perspective of nutrition and detoxing. How have you made that transition, both in career and in how you've transitioned the whole balance with food and nutrition and so on?
Yeah. So I guess I haven't fully transitioned yet. So I'm still in a corporate job, but I'm developing that because I would like to, as soon as possible, transition fully. to just help people with their health. It's been so rewarding to help them and see the improvements. Like often within a few weeks, they have like some wow moments or aha moments, and seeing that they can start turning their health around has been very, very rewarding. So that's why I want to focus really on that. So it's been good that now I have only one job because I mean I used to do so much. It's quite insane. Like it's hard to try and explain it.
And how would you explain your job now then? What would you?
I mean, I'm doing a normal job. I'm still working 40 hours a week, but it feels like I'm doing only 25% of what I used to do. That's how it feels to me. So that gives you a bit of an idea of the mental load that I was carrying.
Yeah, totally.
And now, like, I'm absolutely not stressed. I'm still in a senior role, but I have zero stress. It's been good. So it has given me that. I guess it's also me stopping being so loyal to a business. So I was with that company before for about 10 years. And because they were basically the first ones to give me a chance when I started in Australia, I was extremely loyal to them. And obviously executive leadership changes, and it was no longer the same. It was not aligning with my values anymore. Even though I really loved my job and I really loved all the people I was working with in the entire country and in New Zealand, because our head office was in New Zealand. But I needed to really focus on myself and put myself first, which was really difficult. But now having that shift, like she really kind of a bit of a separation, separation with your parents, and now you're you're off on your own. I felt a little bit the same way. And so now with that new employer, I know I'm just a number. I know I could lose my job tomorrow, and I'm no longer putting my soul into it as much. I'm still doing my job very well. I still love that job, but I'm not putting more than I should. I guess before I was putting too much in.
Yes.
Way too much, beyond what any individual should put in work.
Yeah.
So that has given me some time back to spend with my family, and also time back to like sleep. Very important, even for detox. The sleep is your brain detox.
Yeah.
So very important. And so it has allowed me to start my Substack. Actually, I started my Substack only a year ago, a year in March. And learning about that because I had not been on social media for 10 years before that. So all of that is so new to me. So it has given me that time to continue learning. So I've finished the certification in gut health. I'm doing more certifications because there's so much to learn. Like the more you learn, the more you realize you know pretty much nothing. So it's just a lifelong journey of learning and helping people along the way. So building my business alongside. It's been really good, and obviously I also have a coach to help me do that so that I don't waste time, because I want to retire from corporate as quickly as possible.
The perennial desire of most people, I think, when they get to a certain stage. I mean, you talk about burnout and overdoing it. I was within 2 or 3 months of actually dying as a result of the amount of effort that I was putting into my employer. and I'm still with them. I mean, they're still a great company, but I'm not doing anywhere near the roles that I was doing, and I'm not traveling anywhere near as much, and so on. So, there's been a significant change in that regard, but which I suppose brings me to the concept of reinvention, which is in Decode Your Diagnosis. I talk about thriving. So once you've decoded what the issue is, and then you've aligned your life and got into that dynamic harmony, and you've got some functional integrity. So, you're finding out what's real on the mental side of things, what's real on the physical side of things, and what's real for you in the soulful side of things, that reason for living, that purpose, that life purpose. Um, how would you sound like you're reinventing yourself, and I find reinvention is actually the ultimate form of healing. So looking in the mirror today on the knife edge of now, which is one of the concepts I strongly believe in, how have you become more capable or more aligned than the professional you were before with your burnout?
Mm. Yeah, I think I'm more aligned with myself, and I found a different purpose. At some point, uh, couple of years before I finished working with that company, I had reached the level I wanted to reach. That was my dream job. It had expanded. It was very interesting, but I didn't know what was next. And for the past 10 years, I knew where I was going. And then suddenly I had nowhere. And
Mm,
that was so disturbing. So finding through my own struggles and my own healing, finding that new purpose, trying to help people with their health, that has given me that second energy,
mm.
that renewed energy to keep going with that goal. So I'm putting 100% in it as usual. I mean, not 200% anymore, but 100%.
But you've found some real sense of meaning and some sense of the soul in terms
Mm.
of who you are, why you were put on this earth, what what it means for you in terms of your interests, your desires, and your wishes
Mhm.
to do something bigger than yourself. Am I getting that right? Yeah.
Yes, yeah, that's right. Yeah, and yeah, I guess it's funny you say that, because one of the one of the people have helped. That was over a year ago now. She had finished chemo. She had cancer,
Hmm.
and her oncologist told her, like, she should be trying to do a detox. So I helped her with that, and ever since, she and her husband, who is my physio,
Right.
they've they've been really pushing me to keep going, and because she was going towards end of life. Sorry, I'm being a bit emotional.
No,
Uh,
that's
but
okay.
yeah,
It is
she
hard, Sophie.
yeah, they both really went into that spiritual um, space, and that has opened even more, uh, I guess, a bigger perspective to me.
Mm,
And
mm.
yeah, it's been really interesting to walk that journey with them, and it's just the beginning, I guess, of that spiritual journey. And yeah, she really wanted me to keep doing that, and help more people in the cancer space as well.
Mm. Look, Sophie, on that particular activity you're working with there with that couple, you're doing a great job. I don't know anything about it, but just the fact that you're a functional health professional that's there helping them through quite a difficult time. Many of us are incurable, many of us are irreversible, and it's that support from functional health professionals that look at more than just their particular expertise, not necessarily crossing away from their swim lane, but understanding how they fit into the bigger picture and how they can help people through very difficult times. That's critically important, and the sort of stuff that you as a functioning health professional would do in those instances, I can imagine just listening to you is incredible work. So yeah, just
Thank you. Yeah,
thank you for
and
being
you're
that
right.
person.
Like, for instance, for me, it was not about trying to be an expert in everything, because
No,
no one can be an expert in everything.
correct.
But it was more, and I mean, her husband has done so much work. I'm sure he's better clued than most GP about cancer and ovarian cancer.
Yeah,
But what I did is refer them to people I thought would help them. And
yeah.
especially the last person I referred them to was more of a person who was working with energies and spirituality and all of that. And that has immensely helped them, especially transitioning towards end of life. Because unfortunately she passed away at the end of last year, after 5 years of battle. So yeah, that was very important for them to have met that person and and look at different ways to manage the disease, manage the symptoms, and sometimes you just need to accept that there is nothing else you can do, and you just need to let go. And I think it's very important to be able to transition into death, being really well surrounded, and have that spiritual support. I think is really important.
Looking at both directions in terms of what you did with yourself and setting yourself free, and how you helped that couple work towards their end of life strategy and set them free, help them free themselves from a pathway that that's a difficult pathway to work through, and can create some real circular thinking that is destructive. How would you suggest people set themselves free and turn sort of restrictive thinking into more of a living manuscript for their future, for their own improvement to thrive in whatever the condition? Because thriving doesn't just mean a fantastic end game or a fantastic life into the future. Thriving also means, I mean, Jenny Peterson, who's somebody I've interviewed a while ago, she has stage 4 cancer, and she's in the same sort of situation, but she thrives. Her Substack is called Dying to Live. Have I got that around the right way?
Yeah, I think so. I think I
Yeah,
remember her success.
Dying to Live, and she has that perspective on life. What are your thoughts in terms of how people can free themselves and thrive, whether it's going up or going down or just progressing and holding the course? Like me, for instance, I'm holding the course. I'm not going to improve. I'm not going to change. I just do what I can to keep it from getting worse.
I think be curious. Just keep being curious. Remove the blinkers, because I guess society is giving us blinkers.
Yep.
Modern medicine is giving us a lot of blinkers. I think we can use modern medicine and also other medicines. I think it's not necessarily one without the other. Both are important. And I think what that lady taught me is she had such an incredible courage and such a force to want to keep living. They have tried everything. We haven't left any stone unturned. And they have more than, I only accompanied them towards the end of their journey. But just live. Absolutely live every single second, no matter, how bad you are. Like, she was in such huge pain and she would never complain. Like, she was absolutely amazing. She would not complain and she would always worry about everyone else but herself. Just before dying, a few days before dying, she could barely speak, and she told her husband, "Make sure Sophie talks to Aaron." And look at his hands, at his hands. So that's one of their two sons. And, she was about to not be able to speak anymore at all. And then she still was thinking of, her family and how she could help them. That until the end, that's just absolutely incredible. She's such a role model.
Yeah, right.
Of like really just fight for life, even if you are suffering, fight for it until there is really no other option than going. And that's what she did. She lived life to the fullest. They traveled the world in so many countries. They did so many things together. They have two beautiful children. And so, just live to the fullest and be curious. Keep exploring. There are so many things that we don't know as scientists. We discover things every single day. Keep trying.
It is incredible the learning that we're going through now as a species, and it's certainly I've asked a number of doctors and medical professionals about AI, and Keith Holden comes to mind, a internal medicine doctor. Here we call them sort of specialists, but in the States it's a different term. But he was saying how AI will remove ego from the medical fraternity and get to the core of things. And I think we're going to learn so much more in the next 10 years, more so than we have in the last 200, So that'd be very interesting to see. So how do you go about, you personally now, on the knife edge of time, that moment now, this is the moment we live in. We don't live in the future, and we don't certainly live in the past. How do you go about and distinguish between the blueprint of your past in terms of stress and metabolism and so on, and how do you enjoy life now and those brushstrokes that we're constantly redeveloping?
I think I enjoy more every moment. I enjoy more the present moment. I'm not running all the time anymore, to the next thing that I have to do. Even though I'm still very busy, but it's not the same. Like, mentally, I'm more present. I'm more at peace, I guess. More peaceful than before. That's very simple. Just enjoying simple moments. I love spending time with people, with my family, obviously, but having those moments without necessarily the technology disrupting us. Yeah.
Lovely. Well, Sophie, before we close the session, there is one question that I tend to ask people, and it's about that first point of contact. If you've come across somebody and their first moment of diagnosis, what would you say to them about their future? Not necessarily their outcome, but what were you, as somebody who specializes in detoxification and nutrition, what would you say to somebody?
In terms of nutrition?
In terms of anything, your choice.
Anything? I would tell them to gather a team around them, a team of professionals. We need to have lots of different specialties sometimes depending on the condition we get diagnosed with. And don't just settle on one diagnostic or one person. Just ask for multiple opinions. And get help from multiple disciplines. I think that's very important. So nutrition is one, but you could need acupuncture, you could need physio, you could need I don't know, an oncologist, you could need a cardio, So maybe a physical therapist. Maybe you need someone who helps you navigate all those medical appointments as well, like Patty, for instance.
Well, I was just going to say, Patty's here with us today.
Yeah. And so having a team around you and having the support as well from family or friends.
I see we've got a pathologist here as well. So everybody, it takes an entire team. It is actually a team sport.
It is, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, Sophie, thank you very much for coming and sharing your knowledge and your wisdom and the events that have shaped your life. And certainly you seem to be thriving now, and you've come through that very hard space of burnout, working too much, too hard, too long, all those sort of things. So thank you for taking the time in your very busy schedule to spend with us here today.
Thank you so much, Paul. That was really an honor to be on live with you today. So thank you so much.
The honor is mine. Thank you.
Thank you all. Bye.
Bye.